Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
Do you regret starting each one with a song, considering you have to find a song every single time?
No, I think that I enjoy
Because
that.
you're like, what song are we going to do? Have we done that one already?
I know,
Maybe we'll
but
do
you
that.
guys say, okay, what's the content? Let's have a refresh, and then you ask me for a song, and sometimes I have a song, sometimes I fucking don't. But I'm listening to some really, really good electro at the moment, and the kids
You're
are
gonna
joining
play
in.
us some,
They're
aren't
standing.
you?
Yeah. This is a great song. This is Should Have Seen You Coming.
I'm not going to try and sing that.
Great track. Such a great track. So
Got to play that nice and loud.
Yeah. This is a Sunday morning song, in the car, flying along. Yeah, that's me, Sunday morning. But that's a great track, and I'll tell you who it is. It's Frankie with Ayoto, and it's Frankie Wap, and the song is Should Have Seen You Coming. But
You didn't actually have to
fantastic
sing that one,
track.
so that's a
No,
bonus.
but I'm just saying that's a great track if you like good tracks, and that's Oliver's favourite song at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's very cute.
That's his
he
favourite
switches favourite songs like he switches his underwear.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, but
It's
I
always-
mean, when I'm playing it and he starts singing it out loud in the back of the car,
It's very cute.
it's very good. And then he's like, "Go faster, Dad! Go faster! Beat him, Dad! Beat him!" He knows every car now. He's like Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini,
His dad's son, that's for
every
sure.
car. Dad, not a Mercedes. Dad, there's a Mercedes. Not a Mercedes. Dad, is your car faster than that?
Yeah.
Dad's car's fast, son.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So
So I think we need to talk about the fact that you were a bit charged as we came into this podcast today.
right, okay. Pick on Mitch Day, is it?
I mean, realistically,
Yeah.
yes, it is actually. It started off that way. I think it's going to end that way.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, you
Yeah.
have no concept of just anything. And I think
Of anything? I've no concept
I know of anything. Like,
Ooh, and I'm the
sometimes-
one that's charged.
Just sometimes when you say stuff, I'm like, can you not see? Like, just can you not see? So let's just talk a little bit about what just happened here, right?
Yeah.
We're here. We have to record a podcast.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, give us a couple of minutes. I need to talk to my dad because your dad's walked in and you've had to have a conversation. You came out of that conversation with your dad exactly like I come out of every meeting with you. Not really, but a lot of the meetings with you. And you're like, I just can't believe it. I just don't get it. And like, I'm in the middle of the conversation and he's like, what happened?
Well, his phone rang, and then he goes down, and he stands up, and he walks away from me, and then he goes down the front of the office, which is like, it's probably 30 metres, 40 metres, and then he sits down, and he's having a phone conversation with
While you're supposed to be in a
a
meeting.
relative, and I'm like, what the fuck, what are you doing? And I'm like, they're screaming for me to get into a podcast studio, and then we're in on another meeting, and we're sitting there, and we're talking about taps, because he's handling like 2 renovations and a shed build for me at the moment, and we're talking about taps, and I'm like, dude, what's the problem? And he's like, and we're chatting to me, and I'm just buy the taps. And then the phone rings, and he gets onto a conversation with some 65-year-old dude who's telling him about his son fucking caught in Orlando. And I'm like, for 15 minutes. And I'm like, get off the phone. Get off the phone.
Every time you have a frustration
Oh
with
my
Eamon,
God. And
I'm
then I
like,
walk out and I'm like, for fuck's sake, Dad, like, what are you doing?
And what did you get from the staff when you told the staff that? Come on.
Well,
what
they
did you
just
get?
started saying, that's you. Yeah, but that's not me. I'm
It
not
is
that
you.
bad. I don't do... If I say, guys, I have to take this call, I actually have to take a call.
Really?
Yes.
It can't wait for like 5 minutes.
Well, no, because
Most of
sometimes
the
it's
time.
sometimes it
Sometimes
can
it
be,
doesn't.
it can be like money on the other end of it, you know?
Oh, there you go.
No, what I mean is
but
that it can be
sometimes
like,
it
I
can
need to
be.
know on this deal, Mitch, what are you doing it or not? And I'm like,
I
no,
get
there's
that.
a deal
I
happening
get that.
right
so
now.
there
I
are
have to be able to...
definitely times, but
Yes.
not every time. And you prioritise a phone call sometimes over the meeting that you're about to
That
have.
was how I used to operate. I don't fully agree that that's how I operate now. I used to be like that a long time ago.
I think
but
we
not
need to
now.
talk about the fact that you are your father.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, I
that-
probably am in some ways. Yes,
I
I'm
think
a more
you're still in
improved
denial.
version.
No, Mitch, you're him. It's like everything that you get pissed off with at him
Yeah,
is 100% you.
you reckon?
100%.
I've been really shitty with my mobile lately as well because I was so good.
You had a moment where you were really good. You
I
were
was
much
fucking
better.
really good, but lately I've been like the fucking phone, and
It's occupying your mind again.
well,
It's
because
just
it just
taking away.
like I'm waking up in the morning and I come out and I just quickly check, okay, what's happening. There might be happening with some stuff that I need to see, and I shouldn't be doing that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I should just leave the phone in the bag until I get in the car.
Yeah.
Leave the phone in the bag until you get in the car.
Yeah. And there have been times where you've needed those emergency calls and then you've given your phone to somebody else to if this person calls me,
Yeah.
let me know about
Yeah.
it. But otherwise,
Maybe
I don't need
to
to
be
deal
doing
with
that a bit more often, and I
Yeah.
just need to shake up with that, and maybe I need to do it just more.
Yeah.
But I'll be standing in the kitchen, and Angie go, "Get off your phone! Get off your phone!" And I'm like, "Okay." I put the phone down. 2 seconds later, she's fucking holding her phone, and she's like, "I'm like, don't tell me to get off my phone when you're on your phone." But they're so trappy,
Yeah, but I think it's more the fact that your trait, you really are your father's son. 100%.
I thought we just left that. I segued
No, you were
way out
trying
of that.
to get out of
No,
it.
no, no, I
But you have to acknowledge that he's you. And
yeah.
the frustration is because you don't like it when people do to you what you do to other people.
Yeah.
Just going to leave that there. Might mention it again a couple more times just to see if
Through
you can
this
actually
podcast.
get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how you get so frustrated and you're like, that's actually, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually because oftentimes you'll talk to me about different things and I'm like, do I tell him now or do I wait and let him know that
It's a
that's
little
exactly
sensitive.
that's
a little sensitive
actually
now.
you right now. Today was a good opportunity just to rub it in
Yeah,
your face.
yeah.
Everyone's going to call you Eamon every time you do.
Yeah,
You chuck a Mitch.
I just did an aim.
Oh dear. What was I
Yeah.
going to say?
So what were you going to say?
Well, we were going to talk about.
Wind me up.
Well, it's frustrating, isn't it?
Oh, that annoyed me today. I was like that, and I don't know. I've had a big weekend. I had a little bit of a blowout on Friday night. I don't normally have blowouts, but we went down.
I think last time we recorded a podcast, you were telling me that you didn't
Yeah.
normally have a blowout, and you had a
Did,
blowout.
really?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Really?
That's okay. Carry on.
But we got this cabin down in down on a dam. We've bought this cabin, and we've got some jet skis coming in for the kids for summer and stuff like that. So we were down at the cabin, and on the way down, I got some bad news, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was so beating up on myself. I was so beating up on
Were you
myself.
beating off on yourself about that news?
I wasn't beating off on myself.
beating
Mills.
up on yourself. I
Up.
said up.
No,
yeah.
she said. I mean, you said off, and so much so that Tash burst out
Really?
laughing. Yeah.
Oh, I did not mean. If that's what it
So-
came out as. Not what I
yeah,
meant. But
okay.
beating up on yourself. Were you really? Were you having a go at yourself about that?
I was
though?
just so annoyed. I just was. I was pushing a deal, and I was pushing the contract, the bounds of the contract, because I wanted to get the deal based on what I wanted. And I just.
That normally works out for you.
It does normally work out for me because we offered the right money.
I
Everything
have a
else.
feeling that this might still work out for you.
It could do. Hopefully, I would love it to, but it could. It's a very, very, very good deal. And then I lost it because the vendor wouldn't settle for a term of an extra 30 days that we needed for. Well, we wanted. I didn't need it. I wanted for settlement because you just don't want to be settling December, January because nobody's at work. Banks are notoriously shit at that time. Settlement agents, and you want to be on holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be down in the dam where I've no reception.
Phone reception, yeah.
So if there's no reception and I'm down there, like this is crazy, So it was just annoying. Anyway,
Anyways.
I was shitty about that. And then I went down, and Matt I could tell he was upset, and I was upset. And so we were celebrating, and we were also in a bit of remorse, commiserating. And it was just me and him.
Yeah.
And we had a few beers, and we then the next day found out that we'd been because you're meant to switch the music off at 10 o'clock. We'd been
Right.
playing loud music until 2. Yeah, where you can get an official warning and then thrown
Excellent.
out of the park. And we've only
Yeah.
just got the bleeding thing.
Yeah.
But you don't even think that you have the music that loud, but you have.
Yeah.
You have, yeah. We had it loud. And it wasn't that they didn't officially give us a warning or anything, but some of the local campers came around and said, "Guys, you had the thing on until 1 o'clock in the morning. It was loud." I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even think. I didn't even think. But yeah, and then down there we got to meet some of the other new couples, and we were like, and when you meet new people, you want to know that you click and you gel, but we like, and how do you do that? You want to push the conversations, and you want to have a bit of a laugh. You want to talk a bit of shit. You want to talk a bit of, and then you want to talk a bit of serious stuff. And I think when you're having these conversations like this, you're really trying to judge, okay, what's the other person's limit about how
mental you can go with the
and
conversation.
how funny you can be. You're just, because you're talking shit.
Yeah, I don't know about funny. I think sometimes you think you're being funny when you've had a few drinks, and you're not actually that funny.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you are.
Yeah.
I think it depends on
every now and then I pull off a good funny, and
Yes.
then Ange just be like, and then
100%.
I milk it. If I get someone to laugh at something, and then
my
I'll
God.
come at it another way, and then Ange will be looking, going,
Nah,
mate,
stop.
no, stop, time out.
Yeah.
You was
should've-
funny the first time.
Yeah, 100%.
Now you need to just stop. Okay.
So, and I think
Because
sometimes
it's getting awkward.
I think sometimes you and Matt have a young boy, childish kind of approach.
Well, we
to
laugh at
fun.
really stupid, really
Stupid
inappropriate
shite,
shit.
Yeah.
Really inappropriate shit.
Yeah.
And really stupid, inappropriate shit. And we just look at each other and laugh, you
Yeah.
know? Because I think you have to be able to laugh at stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that what that does is it allows you to see the other person's limit, that you've got similar sense of humours and that are funny. And you know you've said it and other people won't like it. And that sometimes kind of makes it even funnier.
Right.
It does. It kind of makes it
Yeah.
even funnier
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you think, oh my God. That was
Well, it depends on
and
the
then
situation that you're in.
The
yeah.
next day when you're with your mate, you're able to go, you do know you said that yesterday, don't you? Like, you know that was really inappropriate. And
And you hassle him about it.
yeah, because you get to take the piss out of each other.
Right,
'cause
okay,
that's what
cool,
you do.
yeah.
You get to annoy each other.
So, what was I going to say? So, this whole, I think for me, with that, I know that we want to talk a little bit about friendships and just finding your space and finding your line with that. I know I found it really difficult years ago. I remember years and years and years ago thinking, I didn't like, what you just talked about there about just going and just being just
An idiot.
an idiot. Like, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like the small talk conversations that you had at the
Yeah.
bars and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I couldn't handle it. And I was like, I couldn't understand why people would do that, because I prefer, this is just me, I prefer being able to have different levels of conversation with different people. Like, I don't mind the small talk stuff because sometimes you need it. But I feel like I want to be able to have a deeper conversation with people as well. Like, even though, like, for example, you and I, we can get into some deep stuff, but we can also have a laugh and have a joke and not take things too seriously. You can have
Yeah.
a mix of the two. But there's some people that you can't do one or the other with. Do you know what I mean? And I found that difficult, especially. And, like, I remember one night, though, we were all out at, I think it was an Easter Thursday, and there was a big crowd of us out somewhere, and I was like, I just had to embrace the whole, okay, let's just talk shite thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
but not everything needs to be meaningful. Do you know what I mean?
I know that, but I didn't get that at the time.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't, because I felt it's not about not being meaningful. It was just that you couldn't. Like, it's not that I need to be meaningful at every moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also know that with a certain person, that if I needed to be, I could be. It's not about being that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it. And then I realised, it's okay just to be in this space and just to have this moment. It doesn't mean that I'm not ever going to be serious, or I'm not ever going to, I don't know. I don't know if it was just me having trouble just having fun in a way, but perhaps that was that as well. But then I really got okay with the fact that I could do that, and that was a big thing for me.
Yeah,
because I wasn't like,
Well,
I still don't really, because I felt like, okay, these people, I'm not going to see till the next time we have a big get together, big party type thing,
Yeah.
and then we're technically going to have the same conversation, and we're not going to have anything more than that. And I'm like, there's people in your life that you only have that with, and which is fine. I've realised now it's kind of fine, because if that's what that is, that's okay. But I prefer stuff that I can, or people that I can have both levels of conversation with.
Do you think you just hadn't learned to loosen up? I mean, your social, your ability to socialise when you first met us because you hadn't really had huge friendship groups, and I'd come from a scene where we had massive friendship groups. Like there was,
Yeah, but
in some cases,
I see it differently.
hundreds of us.
I know, but I see it differently. You had friendship groups, but I had friends.
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes I have a smaller group of friends, but my friends are my friends. You have social groups, but I don't see that you have just as many friends as I do, if that makes sense. So what I do notice is that when I grew up, I notice with your kids, right? You have people over every week. You do stuff every week with different people. So your kids are always hanging around other people.
Yeah.
So their ability to be able to socialise and connect is different because they've been surrounded by that a lot more. And I know that was like you when you were growing up. You were growing up in Ireland. You said your mum and dad were at the pub like 3 or 4 nights a week.
Socialising a lot, yeah.
And then so therefore you had to be that way. You had to nurture that part of yourself. So admittedly, that wasn't like that for me. I didn't have to nurture that part of myself. Family was more important to my family, so the friendship groups didn't. But therefore, when I did make friends, I made friends that I felt like I could have both with, if that makes sense. So you're right in a way, because I feel like I didn't have that social. I didn't understand what it was like. That's why it took me so long to be able to just get into a group and just shoot the shit with people, because I didn't love that, because I didn't have that. I wasn't used to that. So if I was going to have friends, it was going to be like more around the let's actually connect type thing. So there is a little bit of that, but I also feel like I do have people in my life that I know who I can turn to, and I know I can have that base with. Does that make sense? So it's probably.
But I think everybody has a mixture of both. You have to have.
I think you probably do.
But you have to have people that you can just shoot the shit with and let loose with and just talk about anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not judge them on their opinion or how they see things either. Do you know what I mean? And I think you need to have people that you can have serious conversations with, and sometimes they're obviously both.
In the same person.
And in the same person. And so yeah, I agree. I think that, now if I look at my social groups in comparison to years ago, I've wanted over the past couple of years to be able to meet more groups and have different groups of people rather than hanging out with the same people all the time. You want to be able to. So I've got the biker group. I've got which is really just all men. There's no. It's just about biking, right? And there's a bit of piss taking and that sort of stuff goes on in those groups, because they're WhatsApp groups, and there's a bit of fun happens there. And even when you're with those groups, there's nobody is voicing opinions. It's just we go down here, we throw ourselves down mountains, we have a bit of a laugh afterwards, and we have a few beers and stuff like that. And then but you don't get into it with those groups. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's subgroups within those groups where you do, because I know the guys that invited me in there, that I've met in there, I can have deeper conversations with. And I've been, and I help those guys out.
But is there a fine line when you're out in some of those places? I know we've been speaking a little bit about it, but is there a bit of a fine line about knowing? Well, you were saying earlier on, about when somebody new comes in, it's like, how do you know where the line is, or where the how do you find that?
I think the way you do that is by taking the mickey.
Right.
You take the piss.
You do that way.
You have a joke. You have a laugh and see if they, you take the mickey. That's a connection thing, is taking the mickey. Do you know what I mean?
That's how you do it.
Yeah, is being able to have a bit of a laugh.
You have a connection with someone if you can if you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
the people in the group can laugh at themselves.
Obviously without putting yourself down.
Yeah,
you laugh at your behaviour, and they and someone goes, "Oh, I think like that too," "Oh, I do that stuff sometimes as well,"
But sometimes that crosses the line. So isn't there a fine line between? There's a line, isn't there? There's a line between. So how do you manage that, especially when you're in your crazy childish mode that you get in with, say, someone like Matt?
Yeah.
Right? How do you manage that line? Because I know that you can get upset about something someone said, even though they've taken the mickey out of you. So how do you manage that?
I think that I mean, I will tell a person that's not cool.
Right.
Don't do that.
Even in the middle of a joke. How do you know?
Because you just know. I'll just tell them, and they'll know. And then I'll let them. Then I'll also. It doesn't mean that I think it's different with blokes. I think with women, women just cut themselves off, and they can be a little bit more. It's a primitive thing. Women can be gossipy. Do you know what I mean? They just gossip because that's how they connect. Men take the piss. That's how they connect. They come back and they've come from this heightened state of having to go and get the kill. The way in which they relax and let loose is to just de-stress, is to, have a beer, have a laugh, talk about something that was stupid, so because they're not so serious anymore.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I've had to say to people, that's not cool.
So let me ask you
You
a
don't
question.
know me well enough to say that. Or do
Right, so this is what I was going to ask, right?
Yeah.
So if I took the mickey out of something about you and somebody else did, like I've known you like almost 20 years now, right? And somebody else did that hasn't known you as long, do you feel like there's a difference?
Yeah, you have to earn the right. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to earn the right to
Yeah,
be
you've
in
got
that
to earn a
space.
person's trust. You got to earn a person. You got to make sure that you're not trying to belittle them to make you feel
Better.
more than them.
And so that's knowing the person to know that space. Yeah.
And I've had to apologise for shit that I've said because I've known later I've done shit where I've done that. I'm like, fuck, you ring the next day and go, hey,
crossed the line a bit there.
Yeah. Even when we went down, we met up with some of the neighbours. The next day I was taking the mickey going, I bet you guys are thinking to yourselves, oh my God, who just moved in next door, And they were laughing, but there's just stuff.
And then what about so my theory is though that your insecurities play a massive role in that. So I can tease you one day and then another day I can tease you and you don't handle it the same way. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about anybody being able to do it.
Yeah.
That I feel like a person's insecurities play into that a little bit. Like if I
it's like this. It's like if it just depends on how you are and how there's so many things that play into that. There's what was happening that day, what was happening the night before. Are you sensitive about something? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you got some other shit going on where you have to be able to go, okay, that was not a jab, that was not a stab, that was just them trying to connect with you because they're not connecting. Do you know what I mean? So
right.
So I think that it just depends on what's going on for the person. Do you know what I mean?
The other person or you?
For me personally.
For you personally. Because the thing, so would you say that
I am very sensitive. I'm a very
I know
sensitive
you are, yeah.
bloke.
I know.
Tasha's laughing there to care.
But you are. Yeah.
But
that's why it's like, I find it hard sometimes because I feel like sometimes I can joke with you and you take it as a joke, and sometimes I joke and you don't take it as a joke. And I'm like, I don't know what.
Yeah, but
that
you can
is.
also turn around and say, oh, and I'll go, listen, that's not cool. And you'll go, I was only joking. I'll go, I know, it's just my stuff, or just at the moment.
We're able to do that.
Just at the moment, I got something going on, so
yeah.
I understand you're only taking the mickey.
Yeah.
And I do it as well. Like I remember when I think it was one of your grandparents died or something.
It was my dad. I think it was when my dad.
I think it was your dad died.
You don't handle that stuff very well at all.
Well, I know, and that's what I mean. When your father died, I like.
You didn't know how to handle it.
I didn't know how to handle it because I was in the middle of a fucking seminar, and you walked up and went, "Hey, my fucking father just died," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. So you made a joke straight away.
Yeah.
And that was how you handled it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
do you remember what the joke was?
Yeah, you were, because my dad became a paraplegic just a few years
this
before
is so fucking inappropriate right
it's
now.
so inappropriate.
Anybody listening to this is going to think, oh
and
my
then,
God.
And then you made a
did
joke
what?
about him wheeling around or something in heaven or
I
something.
think your grandfather wheeling him around.
Passed away beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I think your grandfather died about a year beforehand. I said, oh, well, no, your dad's going to have someone to wheel him around. Which was just my way of handling it. And you looked at me and you laughed. We both laughed, right? I mean, because at the end of the day,
Yeah, I know.
I know. If you're upset, I love you, and I'll always be able to, but it's a good sign of friendship, isn't it? It's a good sign.
I think you were able to handle it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional right now.
Yeah, probably because I mentioned your granddad.
It's been this last little bit has been a few years since they've all passed, actually.
Mm.
It all happened in August and September.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's been
I think you said
16 years since my grandfather passed.
Like,
in
I
August.
remember that day.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember
like,
that day too.
holy shit. Is that 16 years ago?
Yeah.
That's just frightening.
Yeah.
Like, that
yeah.
is frightening.
It was on Marky's 4th birthday. He
That's
just turned
right.
20.
Yeah.
And then, my dad and my grandmother just not long ago as well. But I think it gets balanced out with. I think I'm emotional because I remember I felt the love anyway after that.
Yeah.
Like I felt that you cared, you put your arms around me and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think for me, that taking the mickey thing, I've just had a realisation actually, because for me, when people are doing that, I'm okay with that in friendship, right?
Mm.
But there's certain people that do it well and there's other people that don't.
Yeah.
And
do it
I
really
feel
well.
like I don't think you do with me. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But one of our other mates does it really well because he'll take the mickey, but then he'll wink at me across the room, and I know he's that's his way of connecting with me, saying we're just teasing here, but I love you anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, that is a form of connection because I feel like we can laugh about this, but we both know, you know, what's going on underneath that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I've been really thinking about my values recently as well. And I think that a lot of it is based on connection. Do you know what I mean? Like that can happen when you've got the connection. That emotion, like the teasing and stuff, can all happen once you, like, I think you're right about earning the right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can earn the right to speak to me, speak about me in a particular way because we have a relationship that allows that. And it's like, if we're arguing about something, you don't have the right to tease me in front. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're both aware of that. You know, if we're in that connection mode, then that's okay. Do you feel like you have that?
I think taking the mickey and taking the piss when you got stuff going on with someone is you're trying to work out where
Form
are
a
they at.
connection.
Okay, where are they at? I'm trying to connect with you, but where are you at with what's happened? You know, what's going on between us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there's something really important about laughing together with someone. That vibration of sitting and laughing with someone and just being able to just fucking have a good laugh.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And just be able to make light of something and go, hey, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? Really?
Yeah.
You know, this whole life thing.
But I think I think that's okay once you're both on the same page and once you're in that space. You know, sometimes the laughing can be ignoring the bigness that it might be for another person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or what
Because
might
I
be
see it
happening.
with the kids. You know, like Ollie'll hurt himself, and I'll try to cheer him up by having a laugh. And then he'll go, stop it. You know, he'll yell at me, stop it. And I'll go, sorry, son, I didn't realise.
Yeah.
Or Ange will look and go, don't do that. Let him feel whatever he needs to feel.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely a student in that area when it comes to the kids, you know.
Do you think your joking is partly because you don't want to feel sometimes?
Yeah, I don't want to feel their pain and I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want them to be okay, you know.
Yeah.
Because but that comes, I mean, I'm Irish. That's how they handle it. For my family, that's how they handle it. Excuse me. They would laugh about things.
Yeah.
They would joke about things. That's
Yeah.
just what they did.
Yeah.
You know.
So then what's the
Because irony has to be ironed out with comedy, doesn't it?
Yeah. So then what's the message? What's the outcome?
Well, I think
I think it's about learning what's right for you and being able to communicate that. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's joking and you're not okay with the joke, then you're not.
Yeah.
But having said that, if I'm not in that space of being in that space, I probably wouldn't actually be there. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm not having a good day, I'm not going to come hang out with you guys on a Friday night because I know that. And then if I'm not, sometimes I will because I know that will snap me out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of both. Yeah. Or and I'm not just talking about you guys, but anybody in that scenario, you choose your scenarios based on what you know you want. Do you know what I mean? Or what you need in that moment. But I think knowing what's right, I think is, what you need is important for you, because then you hang out with the friends that help to provide that for you. And I think being able to shoot the shit with people is important.
Yeah.
Being able to have fun is important.
Yeah. It's
And-
super important to me.
And then also being able to connect on another level is important as well, you know. But it depends on I suppose it just depends on knowing yourself and what you need in that moment, you know. Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things that I can do is I can be just all, not myself. I'm just on all the time. When you're trying to be the comedian, you're just fucking on all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where you just got to be able to sit down and just catch yourself doing that.
Yeah.
You know, that you're just on. Because you're not yourself when you're
Yeah.
on all the time, you know?
Yeah. Are you talking about when you're hanging out with your mates? Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's a fair point too. I think sometimes you're on in one way at work, another way with the kids, and another way with Ange, or another way with whatever, with the property deals, and then you go into your friendships and you feel like you have to be this person as well. You know, I think it's about being aware of that and learning through that.
Yeah. Lean into every part of
Lean
yourself, I
into
think,
that.
And know when to switch a part on and switch a part off.
Yeah,
know
and it's
when it's
okay.
appropriate, when it's not. Know
Yeah.
when you need to be the mystic, when you need to be the counsellor, when you need to be the comedian, and
Yeah.
don't try to be the comedian in a counsellor situation.
Yeah, and also know when to have fun, because you need to be able to do that too. Yeah. There you go. Started with techno music, ended a bit
Great
serious
song.
and
That, by the way, that's Night Rider on Spotify. Under Electro, Night Rider on Spotify is the whole album. It's fantastic.
yeah, great.
Hey, whether this is you at the beginning of your personal development journey, or you're perhaps immersed in your growth and transformation, at MJB Seminars, we have everything to help you live an inspired life.
If this episode resonated and you're looking for more information on how to have an actual breakthrough and transform your life, visit us over at mjbseminars.com.au and book yourself in for a complimentary discovery coaching call.
Also, make sure you like and follow us over on Instagram and Facebook. And review and subscribe to Dorothy and the Dealer today.